Hello everyone and welcome back to Push Square, your number one destination for all things PlayStation. It is Aiden once again here to talk about Warzone 2.0. The long awaited Battle Royale giant is finally with us, and I have been recapturing those lockdown Warzone vibes all over again, and let me tell you, it's been glorious. But with a new iteration of the Battle Royale, there is certainly plenty of new to go around. A new map, new mechanics, new meta, and that all makes for a pretty handy tips video. So today's video is going to be a breakdown of the 9 big tips that came to mind when I was exploring the depths of Al-Mazrah this week. So squad up, load up, and let's hot drop right into my 9 important tips to help you net that win in Warzone 2.0. Use Prox Chat to your advantage. If you're going to be using Prox Chat, and yes, you really should at least try it out, it's hilarious. You should know though that it does give you somewhat of a tactical disadvantage. Since players are able to hear when you are within range, it will put enemy teams on alert. Now you can use this to your advantage if you're smart about it, because the Prox Chat range is actually pretty big and completely directionless, so you can even throw off a team by trying to spook them through comms. Now of course there is the entire negotiation tactic, which does often lead to some hilarious or even wholesome encounters.
It's been fun, guys.
Are you sure you didn't want to move it? Oh, Leo, see that? Take care.
Good luck, guys.
But that doesn't really guarantee success here. But if you're playing in a private party chat, Prox Chat can actually still be of use to you. Now you won't be able to hear them and they won't be able to hear you, but any players in Prox Chat that come within range, you will be able to see their mic mark on the left of the screen, giving you a subtle indication that a team is nearby. Not that it done me any good here. Be more circle conscious. With Warzone 2.0, Activision has changed how the gas circle works. Instead of one big circle that gradually gets smaller, in most games at one stage the circle will split into 2 or 3 smaller zones. The idea behind this is to draw crowds into fights in the smaller circles and then have a singular climactic battle when the zones finally join back up. What this means is that you need to be far more circle conscious, because you now have an element of choice. Which zone to choose when they split. Now you should be looking at the terrain and surrounding buildings on a map, because the last thing you want to be is left in an open field with no form of cover. Or, if you feel that you have the high ground, maybe that's exactly what you want. Now more than ever, the gas circle can be a death sentence or the reason that you win, so be aware of it at all times and try to think tactically about where any given circle could land you. Get rich quick. Money is still a major player in Warzone 2, whether that be to buy gear, weapons, or the almighty team respawn. So you're going to want to build up your funds as quickly as possible. And there are actually a number of ways to do this. Of course, there are your typical contracts like the safe breaker, intel, or elimination contracts, but all of these do have an element of risk to them. Quite often contracts will put you in the way of danger. But one of the easiest little tips that I can give is to keep an eye out for cash registers. These are super easy to find as they crop up in most shops. Since Warzone 2 has a far more contextual loot system, I have found anywhere up to 3k just in a single cash register, and it has proven to be the quickest and easiest way to build your funds for your Al-Mazrah expedition. Scout ahead. So to seasoned Warzone players, this one might come across as a bit obvious, but it is worth the reminder. Scout ahead as you traverse Al-Mazrah. This is by far the most dense map in Warzone, with far more buildings to hide in, cliffs and roofs to snipe from, and shrubbery to hold up in for an ambush. The amount of times I have died just running into things too quickly and missing out on an obviously nearby enemy. Take your time, scope out the area before moving ahead, and to relay to my first tip, keep an eye out for those hot micing on the Prox Chat. Utilise the new backpack system. The new backpack system takes a little getting used to, but once you wrap your head around it, it can be a game changer. The biggest and best new feature is the ability to stow items, and this isn't just your ammo or armor plates we're talking about here. You can stow the likes of kill streaks or abilities, which can be handy in more ways than one. Of course, the obvious is just holding on to, say, your mortar strike, but having a cheeky precision airstrike in your backpack just in case. But it also means that when your squad is split apart, you can stow an item to give to them later. I use this to save teammates risking themselves by crossing exposed areas all the time, and you can even be the one to go to the shop, stow a bought item for them rather than messing around with money exchanges. But even on the most simple level, it is a great way to ensure that you have a big supply of plates, ammo, and plenty to go around for the team if needed. In general though, I found that this just streamlined the entire gear and loot system when it came to sharing with your teammates. Gameplay settings. So this will be a big one for those of you that have been struggling with the restricted field of view on the previous Warzone. As soon as you boot up Warzone 2.0 for the first time, you're going to want to head into the gameplay settings and whap that field of view all the way up to 120. This of course will give you a greater chance of spotting enemies in your wider peripheral, and it's actually available on both the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. As a nice addition solely for PlayStation 5 players, if you have a compatible monitor or television, you will also be able to play the game in a super smooth 120 FPS, which matched up with the higher FOV makes for a really slick and premium feeling experience. Utilise Transport. Transportation in Warzone 2 is a lot more important than it may initially seem. Of course, the map itself is utterly enormous, so you're going to want to use the various quad bikes, jeeps, trucks, and even the constantly circling train to get about Al-Mazrah. I personally loved using the train as a fortified form of transportation without you or your team having to actually worry about the driving itself. Then there comes the increased maneuverability within vehicles. You can climb atop the roof of a car while it's moving to get a better angle, or make a speedy jump onto another vehicle. Large helicopters also now have open hangar spaces that mean that you can actually get out of the pilot's seat if you're the only one there, leave the helicopter hovering, and take some quick shots from your fully portable sniper's perch. There are a ton of possibilities with vehicles in Warzone 2.0 that can lead to a far more dynamic experience if you utilise them correctly. You can still get loadouts. Returning Warzone players may be a little shocked to find that the loadout drop is completely missing from the buy station. But fret not, my friend, because your loadouts are not gone for good. To start, you can buy your customised primary weapons, which I would recommend you do if you're stacked up on the appropriate gear already. However, if you're keen to get those fully specced out loadouts, you're going to want to keep an eye out for strongholds. Part of the way through a match, a handful of strongholds will be revealed. Head to those and you'll need to face a building full of enemy AI. These guys can be a little bit better than you would expect, but the real danger here is attracting enemy teams, so clear out the AI as quickly as you can and you will be awarded with your loadout and plenty of other goodies. But if that sounds like hard work, you can also just wait for the randomised loadout drops, although they are pretty risky themselves. Last up we have the Gulag, which has seen a bit of a refresh since the good old days of the prison shower rooms. Now you will be facing off in an intense 2v2 round. This can be with a friend if you die at the same time, or an enemy player. But there are a couple of wee things I spotted during my time there. For one, Prox chat can be a game changer if you're teamed up with someone outside of your squad, allowing you to coordinate somewhat with your temporary teammate. Without putting yourself in harm's way, if you do have the opportunity to pick something up in the Gulag, like a 3-plate armor vest, then please pick it up, because this will actually carry over with you if you respawn. And lastly, don't mess around and try to be too sneaky, because it will only make things harder for you. After about 15 seconds or so, a rather aggressive juggernaut will spawn and proceed to rain down on you with a shower of bullets. And that is my collection of Warzone 2.0 tips. Let me know if you have any more down below. I'm kind of glad to see Warzone back in action, because I had a whale of a time when it first launched in 2020. And well, the less said about the Caldera map, the better, so it's good to see it back to form. But as always, I'd like to thank you for sticking with us. If you liked the video, consider leaving a like, and if you want to see more PlayStation content, maybe subscribe to the channel. Anyway, I'll catch you next time guys, right here on Push Square.